Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the National Press Club. I'm Angela Greiling-Keene. I'm president of the National Press Club and a reporter for Bloomberg News. We appreciate all of you joining us this evening to celebrate some of the country's best journalism, some of our promising prospects, and some courageous people who help report the news in very difficult circumstances. For those of you who are already club members, we appreciate having you as members. And for those of you who haven't joined yet, I invite you to learn more about our membership benefits and consider applying for membership on our website at www.press.org. Now, we're going to begin with our program. We will present a few awards, then eat dinner, and present the rest. After each category's winners are announced, I'd ask that you come up to the stage to make some brief remarks and take a photo and accept your award. As the honorable mention recipients are recognized, I ask that you come to the stage to accept the award. And for those who couldn't make it tonight, the awards will be sent to them. We start tonight by recognizing the winners of the Consumer Journalism Awards in the National Press Club's Journalism Contest. The Consumer Award recognizes excellence in reporting on consumer topics, especially work that prompts action by the community, the government, or by an individual. This is one of our most competitive categories. The winners of the Consumer Award for newspapers are Patricia Callahan, Sam Rowe, and Michael Hawthorne of the Chicago Tribune for an investigation of toxic flame retardants in furniture. The judges said the results in the series included California overhauling its flammability standard, Senate hearings, and a national retailer halting sales of potentially hazardous crib mattresses. They called it, quote, an example of the finest form of consumer newspaper reporting by watchdog journalists. Accepting the award tonight is Michael Hawthorne.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Press Club, and it's good to be back. We were here in 2006. Sam Rowe and I were. Obviously the newspaper business has changed a little bit, but fortunately, investigative journalism is still alive. And I'd like to thank our editor, Jerry Kern, our investigations editor, George Papajohn, our watchdog editor, Karin Tissue, who helped shepherd this award to actually happen. The journalism that we did and the journalism that the Tribune is doing, despite what you might read in that newspaper up to the north, is still alive and is still going. And despite what you might hear about who may own us in the next months or year or years, we plan to keep doing that. So thank you very much.
Honorable mention for consumer journalism and newspapers goes to Peter Waldman and Sidney P. Friedberg of Bloomberg News for their stories, Profits Over Patients, a look at profiteering in the medical business. I'm honored to accept the award on their behalf. In the category of consumer journalism periodicals, a team of journalists from Bloomberg Markets won for their thorough look at global food safety. Stephanie Armour, John Lippert, Michael Smith, William B., and Nguyen Ju Chuin, the hardest name to pronounce of the entire evening, won for a package that includes looks at built-in conflicts that affect almost everyone. I'm also accepting this award on their behalf. Honorable mention goes to the Center for Public Integrity for Skin and Bone, the shadowy trade in human body parts, which wins for an impressive reporting work across several continents that raises important medical ethics issues. Accepting this award is Bill Busenberg, Executive Director of the Center. The winners in the broadcast category for consumer journalism are PBS Frontline and the Center for Public Integrity for their story, Dollars and Dentists, which looks at the profit motive in dental care for seniors using Medicaid. Lawmakers and attorneys general in Massachusetts, Texas, and Virginia now have opened investigations. Let's take a look at a sample of their work.
Tonight, 2 reports on this special edition of Frontline. The dental care crisis in America.
No dentists want to see children on Medicaid.
For children.
Her teeth are infected. She has a lot of pain with them.
And adults.
I've been to the ER 3 times within the last 6 months. I can't take the pain. It's too excruciating.
Are corporate chains filling the gap? Tonight, Frontline correspondent Miles O'Brien, in collaboration with the Center for Public Integrity,
Are profits and patient care always at odds?
investigates this unreported health crisis, dollars and dentists, on this special edition of Frontline.
Accepting the award is Jill Rosenbaum of PBS Frontline.
First of all, there are 2 people here tonight who should really be standing here with me. Katie Tabor, my co-producer from Yellow River Productions, and David Heath of the Center for Public Integrity, who reported the story along with me. And I will just say that having covered healthcare off and on for many, many years, I was absolutely astonished to discover how many, not millions, but tens of millions of Americans have trouble getting access to dental care and really get put through an unbelievable personal, painful financial wringer trying to get it. And so, I'm glad that you have honored this work because hopefully it'll call greater attention to their plight and get them some additional assistance. David? So.
I just wanted to thank the National Press Club for this award. Thanks very much.
Honorable mention goes to Katrina Cravey with WITI Fox 6 News of Milwaukee for a look at victims of a tax preparation service that filed their returns without their knowledge. Here's a sample of that coverage.
This woman is not happy, and she's letting everyone know. So far, 7 people have turned to Contact 6 about this office. So Contact 6 sent in our hidden camera too, and our producer asked a few questions.
How much is it to get taxes done?
Roughly $380.
But all of our complaints say they were charged way more than $380. In the meantime, I finally got in touch with Instant Tax Service CEO Fez Agbajan.
There's no denying that our fees may be higher than a place that does not offer loans.
Contact 6 continues to get complaints from their customers, but we are urging you to call the Consumer Protection Bureau of Wisconsin because now that the government is taking action, they need to know if this happened to you. I'm Katrina Cravey, Contact 6.
Katrina could not be with us tonight, but we offer our congratulations. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Andrea Snyder of Bloomberg News, the chairwoman of the National Press Club Scholarships Committee. Along with Vice Chairwoman Jennifer Delowy of Hearst Newspapers, Andrea led a team of judges who devoted several of their Saturday mornings to sorting through the many applications from deserving students of journalism. Andrea?
Thank you. So the National Press Club awards 3 scholarships annually. We award the National Press Club Scholarship for Journalism Diversity, the Richard G. Zimmerman Journalism Scholarship, and the Shirley and Dennis Feldman Fellowship, which is a fellowship for grad school students pursuing an advanced degree in journalism. I would like to tell you a little bit first about our Diversity Award winner. Her name is Nidhi Manhavan, and unfortunately she was not able to be here with us tonight. But her award is a scholarship of up to $10,000 over the course of 4 years. It includes a $500 book stipend in memory of Ellen Mason Persina, who was a longtime club member. Needy is graduated this year from Barrington High School in Barrington, Illinois. And she really impressed the judges this year with her clips and the way she wrote about topics that ranged from immigrant workers in the United States to how students of various religious backgrounds deal with and handle Christian holidays in the U.S. Needy wants to use her work to help people make themselves heard. She had stellar recommendations from teachers and people in her community, including a comment from her AP rhetorical analysis teacher who said, whenever there is a question yearning to be asked, the asker will inevitably be Ms. Madhavan. Needy asked me to convey to you that she's extremely grateful for this scholarship. She's very happy that there is an organization that supports young journalists with scholarships like this, and she wishes she could be here tonight. So hopefully she will be able to join us in future years. I would also like to introduce to you Charlie Schotten, who is the winner of our Richard G. Zimmerman Scholarship. Please give Charlie a hand.
Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Charlie. I am soon to be a freshman college student at UNC Wilmington. I start in 10 days actually, so this is quite the kickoff to my freshman year of college. Coming from the Outer Banks, it's a really small town. Really, it's a very homogenous community. So to be awarded with this scholarship and to receive this kind of attention for my work this early in my journalism career has really been an insane. I could have not have pictured myself standing up here. I'm really thankful for it all. I'd like to thank Andrea for helping out with everything, and it's really been a great. I'm at a loss of words, really. I'm just a little nervous, a little excited, but I'm glad to be here. The people I've been met so far has been awesome. I'm hearing some great stories, meeting some great names, and getting some great advice for college. But thanks for having me here, and can't wait to start my career in journalism. So thank you.
For the Feldman, the winner of the Feldman Fellowship this year is Nancy DeVille. She's a 39-year-old GA reporter for the Tennessean in Nashville, Tennessee. She's also a contributor for USA Today, and she, with an overwhelming majority, won over the judges. Her clips included a story about an 80-year-old civil rights worker whose home was about to be foreclosed upon. The story spurred 80,000 tweets and emails to Chase Bank, which, after all of the attention, agreed to sign a deal with the civil rights worker that they had been not agreeing to for months. Nancy is going back to school. Nancy, who was actually also, she was a part of a team that was a Pulitzer Prize finalist for their coverage of flood in Nashville. And she is going back to school to study social media and emerging media technologies with an eye to ultimately teaching. I think we have a small clip. She wasn't able to join us today, but she has a few words for us here.
Greetings, I'm Nancy DeVille. I apologize I can't be there personally with you today, but I am extremely honored to accept the Feldman Fellowship for Graduate Studies. Journalism is my calling, and I started this career a decade ago, hoping to write stories that impact the lives of some of Nashville's most overlooked residents. I'm now drawn to Berkeley's Graduate School of Journalism because I see an opportunity to improve my multimedia and storytelling skills. I'm eager to learn to produce stunning work that makes this industry proud. Thank you again for helping to make this pursuit possible, and I'm dedicated to making your investment worthwhile.
I'd also like to thank Joanne Booz, who is our staff liaison for the scholarship committee and who helps make all of this possible.
And now we will proceed with the entree.
I hope everyone has enjoyed our dinner. I'd like to thank our National Press Club Executive Chef, Susan Delbert, for the delicious meal. And I'm excited to get back to the program. But before we recognize all the rest of our Journalism Award winners tonight, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our volunteer judges for both the scholarships as well as for the Journalism Awards. The judges are all listed on the back of your program, and there are fortunately far too many to name each of them, but I would like each of you to stand for a moment so we can thank you for your service. All right, rowdy bunch of judges. Moving on to the rest of the awards, the winner of the Washington Regional Reporting Award is Thomas Burr of the Salt Lake Tribune. Tommy, as he's known to most of us, is also the chairman of the National Press Club Board of Governors. He won for his thoughtful and thorough coverage of issues of interest to readers in Utah and nationally. The award recognizes the work of a Washington-based regional reporter who provides a clear understanding of events, issues, and politics of importance to a city, state, or region. Congratulations, Tommy.
Thank you for my cheering section back there. I'll make this very quick. I'd love to thank my lovely bride, Jen, for putting up with me. I'd like to thank my colleague, Matt, for putting up with me when Jen's not around. And thank you to the National Press Club for honoring regional reporters who often kind of toil in obscurity in this town, but I think really matter to millions of Americans out there. So thank you very much.
Fari of the Washington Post and the American Journalism Review is the winner for the Arthur Rouse Award for Press Criticism for his work looking at a wide range of issues in the news business. The award is sponsored by former U.S. News and World Report reporter Arthur Rouse, who is with us tonight, I believe. Paul has obviously... Paul has obviously set the stage for perhaps winning again next year, but for now, I would invite you up to accept your award.
Thank you. I would like to recognize 4 people here, although there are many more. Rem Ryder, formerly of the American Journalism Review, is my editor at AJR. Eva Rodriguez is my editor at the Post. I'm not sure she's here. She's going to come. And my wife, Lisa, as well, for, yes, putting up with me. And Mr. Rouse for having this award in the first place. We had a bit of excitement at the Washington Post the last 24 plus hours, and it was very exciting to be part of it. Just one anecdote, and it was a real whirlwind, and I was very excited, as I mentioned, to be part of it. But one anecdote that I thought was telling about, I guess, about journalism. 10 minutes after the story about the sale of the Post went online, I received an email from Bob Woodward. And I said, wow, Bob Woodward. And I got this email, and it said, your story is incorrect. There weren't 7 burglars at the Watergate complex in 1972. There were 5 burglars. And I emailed him back. I said, no, there were 7 people tried for the Watergate break-in, but 5 did the actual break-in. And as soon as I hit send on that,
I realized I was arguing quantum physics with Albert Einstein, and I felt like a real idiot. But oh well, okay, forget it. Seriously, I have worked for two institutions that I think are very important to America, if I can be that pretentious, and both of which have their issues right now, like much of the media. And I just want to say, I hope for the continued health of the media generally, because let's face it, we're important on some level, but specifically for the continued health of the American Journalism Review and the Washington Post. Thank you very much.
Honorable mention goes to Michael Calderon of the Huffington Post for his story, Inside the Cult, Politico at a Crossroads. Michael could not be with us tonight. The winners of the Edwin Hood Award for Diplomatic Correspondence are Margaret Coker, Adam Entis, Siobhan Gorman, Jay Solomon, and Matt Bradley of the Wall Street Journal for a series of stories on the attack on the diplomatic mission in Benghazi, Libya. The award is named for Edwin M. Hood, a distinguished diplomatic correspondent for the Associated Press and a founding member of the National Press Club. Accepting the award is Adam Entis.
I just wanted to, thank the Wall Street Journal, particularly Jerry Seib, our bureau chief, and Matthew Rose, his deputy, and our immediate editor, Bob Orlean. And I'm working with the best national security team one could hope for in Siobhan Gorman, who's here, Jay Solomon, Julian Barnes, who isn't. We have the best team, and we work well together, and that's been everything for me. So thank you very much.
The winner of the Newsletter Journalism Award is Christopher J. Castelli of Inside Washington Publishers for coverage of U.S. national security policy in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Pakistan. The award recognizes the best analytical or interpretive work in newsletter journalism. Please come and accept your award.
Thank you to the National Press Club and to the judges. I'd like to dedicate this award to my wife and my son, who are home handling bedtime. This series appeared in the newsletter Inside the Pentagon and online at InsideDefense.com. Broke news about a major Pentagon report on lessons learned from a decade of conflict in Afghanistan and Iraq, which triggered a follow-up story in The Atlantic. The series also broke news about U.S. plans to aid elite Libyan forces fighting armed extremists, and that came just after the attack in Benghazi and scooped the New York Times by a month. So I invite you to read all these stories for free on InsideDefense.com. They're available. We have a link up there for awards. So thanks again.
Honorable mention goes to Nathan L. Gonzalez of the Rothenberg Political Report for his coverage of the Republicans' failed attempt to convert the North Dakota Senate seat to GOP control. Please come and accept your award. The winners of the Breaking News Award this year are Lyle Denniston, Amy Howe, and Tom Goldstein of SCOTUSblog for their coverage of the Supreme Court's healthcare ruling. The award goes to SCOTUSblog for the engaging presentation of a compelling story as it happened. The winning of the Breaking News Award by a blog is definitely a sign of the dramatic changes that we've seen taking place in journalism all around us this week. Accepting this award tonight is Lyle Denniston.
Thank you to the National Press Club, to the judges, and to the millions of readers who come to SCOTUSblog at least once a year. I would like, obviously, to recognize a few people. The blog could not operate without Callie Borkowski and Max Mallory, who are here tonight. Would you recognize them? And we brought along Dan Stein, our summer intern. Dan, would you stand up and take a bow? It is important for me to mention Tom and Amy, who could not be here tonight because they are on vacation. But Tom and Amy started the blog in 2001, thinking that it might be a good way to build a business practice for their Supreme Court appearances. It failed at that endeavor, but Tom had the vision to turn it into a news organization, which it now strives very strenuously to be, and achieves most of the time, I think. Indeed, when we did our thing on the healthcare decision last year, a year ago in June, we had 5 million readers between 10 a.m. and 9 o'clock at night, which surpassed by a goodly number the 300,000 that we had the day that the Supreme Court decided the Second Amendment gun rights case in 2008. This year we didn't do quite so well. On the day that the gay marriage case was decided, we had about 3 million hits, which for an online blog that is perhaps as narrow as ours is, aimed primarily at the legal community, that's quite a feat. I also want to recognize, and I'm delighted that you are here, that the organization known as Bloomberg, which is exceedingly generous, now underwrites our blog. And I must say that when Bloomberg came on board as our sponsor, my wife and I discovered that we could begin to eat. Not to say that Tom and Amy were not generous, but let me say they were thrifty. But we are delighted to have this award, and I want to just say one other thing. For those of you who are despairing about the state of journalism, I moved from newspapering to the blog at age 73. And it is possible to have a second career and to have a hell of a good time at it. Thank you.
Michael Scherer of Time Magazine is the winner of the Lee Walczak Award for Political Analysis for his thorough look at the re-election campaign of President Barack Obama and its sophisticated use of technology to identify voters and donors. The award is named in memory of Lee Walczak, a Washington editor, bureau chief, and White House correspondent for Bloomberg and Businessweek. His wife, Maria Recio, is here with us tonight. And Michael, I'd invite you up to accept the award.
So we reporters are only as good as the editors we've had, and I've had many great editors, but the one most responsible for the work here is Michael Duffy. I'd like to thank him and Time Magazine for giving me the time to do good work, which is a rarity here. I'd also like to thank my wife, Yari, who I'm doing more important work with, but she's given me leave to do this, and I'm very grateful for that.
Honorable mention goes to Kenneth P. Vogel, Steve Fries, and Tarini Party of Politico for their package of stories, The $1 Billion Buy, a close look at political money in the 2012 campaign. Please come up and accept the award. The winner of the Ann Cottrell Free Animal Reporting Award in the print and online category is Michael J. Behrens of the Seattle Times for his account of the zoo industry's attempts to preserve and propagate captive elephants. The award honors excellence in reporting about animals and is named in memory of Ann Cottrell Free, a National Press Club member who wrote extensively about animals and their welfare. Her daughter, Alyssa, is here with us tonight.
What I've always enjoyed about the Press Club is its sense of history with these awards, and the fact that I've gotten to meet Alyssa tonight, who's sitting next to my wife Rhonda, who I call a saint, and all of us who are married know how that's true. What's really been impressive about this award is that I didn't know Ann Cottrell Free until this award, and what was stunning is in her early years, she wasn't allowed to sit on the floor that we're sitting on today. She had to sit up here. She wasn't allowed down here in her early years. That would be the 40s and the 50s, the 60s even. And so, reading her biography and realizing what a pioneer she was, there's so many firsts that go with her name. So what I want to say is, how proud I am to accept this award on her behalf, and the fact that we're sitting down here today because of her is just amazing to me. Thank you so much.
Honorable mention goes to Lee Bowman of Scripps Howard News Service for a special report on no-kill shelters. Lee could not be with us tonight. The winner of the Ann Cottrell Free Award for broadcast is the ABC News Brian Ross Investigative Unit for its look at what is required to achieve the high-stepping gait of Tennessee walking horses. Let's take a look at a sample from the story.
Tennessee walking horses are known as sweet, gentle animals, which makes what you are about to see all that much more outrageous. And now there's proof of what some trainers are doing behind the scenes in Tennessee's beautiful horse country. Undercover video being seen for the first time tonight, made by an investigator for the Humane Society, who went to work for one of the leading figures in an American tradition gone awry, Jackie McConnell, seen here beating a horse. When this video was recorded last year, McConnell was on a federal disqualification list, but continued to train horses. Is this widespread? Do other trainers do this same thing? Have they been doing it for years?
I can't speak about years before, but I do not believe that goes on now. I do not believe that is rampant.
Jackie McConnell's lawyer says McConnell will go to court next week in Chattanooga to plead guilty to one of the counts on which he was indicted. And late today, we heard from one of the big corporate sponsors of the Tennessee Walking Horse Championship, Pepsi, which said it has now severed its ties with the event as a result of our ABC News investigation.
Accepting the award tonight is producer Megan Schuchmack.
Thank you
so much to the National Press Club for recognizing this work that is really so meaningful to us and is the reason why we come to work every day. It's these pieces that have the ability to have impact, why we are so proud of the work that we do. Unfortunately, Brian and Rhonda are in the edit room tonight for a story that is breaking tomorrow, so I get to be the one here enjoying this lovely evening. But on behalf of them and ABC, we'd really like to recognize the work of the Humane Society of the United States and the Executive Director, Wayne Pacelli, who's here tonight, because they are the ones who went undercover and got that shocking video, which enabled us to shine a light on this shocking industry and really make some change. And I'd also just really like to echo the remarks of Michael. As a young reporter, it's so inspiring and meaningful for me to accept this award for a woman who, when she was named for a woman who was not allowed to be a member of this club and then went on to be such a trailblazer and leave such a legacy. So it's an honor to be here with her family and accept this award. So thank you very much.
Honorable mention goes to Darcy Spears, Oscar Palomo, Spencer Lubitz, and Marco Villarreal of KTNV-TV of Las Vegas for stories on animal trapping. We have a sample of their coverage too.
A dog barks relentlessly at a bobcat whose leg is caught in a steel trap. The man holding the chain repeatedly pulls the trapped animal back and forth. Gina Grayson and other animal welfare advocates are particularly incensed because of who Tracy Truman is, a local lawyer who sits on Clark County's advisory board to manage wildlife. He says he made the video out there in the Spring Mountain Range sometime in the last couple of months. He says it was intended for a small group of people, specifically trappers who go out with dogs, to teach them how their animals can safely interact with trapped wildlife.
My answer is leave me alone.
That's Tracy Truman, a member of the Clark County Wildlife Advisory Board, defending this YouTube video.
We put in a call to Tracy Truman today to see if he had anything to say and have yet to hear from him. Friends of his tell us, though, that he still plans to work with wildlife, just in a more private and less public position. Reporting in the studio, Marco Villarreal, Channel 13, Action News.
None of them could be here with us tonight. The winners of the Joan M. Friedenberg Online Journalism Award are Allison Young and Peter Eisler of USA Today for their package, Ghost Factories, which uncovered hundreds of forgotten lead factories and the health problems they can cause. The award is designed to recognize the most significant contributions in journalism that use methods well suited to online media. It is named in memory of Joan M. Friedenberg, founding editor of the Online NewsHour, who was the wife of former Press Club President Jonathan Salant. Accepting the award is Allison Young.
For USA Today's Ghost Factory series, we researched more than 460 sites of old lead smelting activities all around the country. These are sites that operated from the 1930s to 1960s and in many cases were long gone. What we wanted to find out is these sites were on a list the EPA was given in 2001 and warned that they may pose a hazard. Our main question was, what did the government do? Did they warn people? And did these sites actually pose hazards? There were huge reporting challenges in doing this project. We're talking about very old factories that operated before environmental regulations and before there were records. We also had huge science issues in order to do this project, but it also involved cutting-edge technology, from USA Today renting and using $41,000 X-ray analyzers to an enormous team of visual and multimedia journalists at USA Today and Gannett who developed this massive interactive to empower our readers to go much deeper and to take actions to protect themselves. There has been much concern about what the future of investigative reporting is, given everything that's going on in our industry. But I think that a project like Ghost Factories shows that there is reason that this could potentially be a golden age for investigative reporting for companies that are willing to invest in it. We now have technologies and tools that I could have never imagined when I started in this business, both to investigate the stories as well as to tell them on so many different platforms. So it's a really exciting time to do this kind of work.
I want to thank, obviously, the National Press Club for this fabulous honor. You know, there is a lot of transition going on in our business right now, but there also is great opportunity. The idea that you could be at a regional newspaper and reach the world through the internet was not anything that was even there when I was in journalism school. Our ability to tell stories, I mean, I'm a print person. I went to print, and I'm now shooting video, and to be able to do that is a wonderful thing. So this is a great time, I think, of opportunities as well as, I mean, very difficult transitions. You all saw pictures up on the screen of this huge team. Ghost Factories, you can't do a big multimedia project without a huge team of journalists. We had about 36 journalists from USA Today and Gannett who were involved. One of them is here tonight, Denny Gaynor, if you can stand up and wave. Denny spent weeks in the basement of the Library of Congress shooting digital photographs of old Sanborn fire insurance maps so you can interact with them. But I also want to thank USA Today. They dedicated 2 years of my time, full-time, to this project, both for the initial project and for the follow-up stories. I mean, that's pretty unprecedented, and it goes to the kind of commitment that USA Today and Gannett are giving to this kind of work. Thank
you. Honorable mention goes to a team of reporters from Bloomberg News for their package, Revolution to Riches, which looked at the wealth collected by the offspring of China's leadership. Accepting the award and explaining the interactive graphic you'll see on the screen is Chloe Whitaker.
Good evening. A dedicated team at Bloomberg News mapped the families of Communist China's 8 immortals to reveal the origins of princelings, an elite class that has been able to amass wealth and influence and exploit opportunities unavailable to most Chinese. Bloomberg tracked 103 people, descendants including children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and their respective spouses. The immortals, now all dead, are revered in communist lore as revolutionary fighters who led China's economic opening after Mao Zedong's death. The identities and business dealings of these families are often cloaked in secrecy because of state censorship and complex corporate webs. Our findings are represented in the graphic you see behind me, and you can learn about every connection we found and explore the family trees of all 8 immortals.
Molly Ball of The Atlantic won the Sandy Hume Memorial Award for Excellence in Political Journalism for her analysis of the 2012 presidential campaign. The award honors excellence and objectivity in political coverage by reporters under age 35 and is named in memory of Sandy Hume, a talented young Washington reporter. Please come up and accept the award.
I'd like to thank the Press Club most of all for making me feel young tonight. And I'd also like to remember Sandy Hume, a wonderful reporter who was tragically taken before his time. And I owe this award most of all to the voters in the swing states in places like Ohio who gave me so much insight into the 2012 election, like the one who told me that he couldn't vote for Obama because he was black, but he also would have a hard time voting for Mitt Romney because he was Mormon, so he was really caught between a rock and a hard place. That's the kind of insight that you just don't get sitting behind a desk in Washington, D.C. I also owe an enormous debt of gratitude to The Atlantic for giving me a tremendous platform and tremendous freedom to do this work, to my editor David Graham and Garance Frankie Ruta, and to our bosses John Gould and Bob Cohn, And to my long-suffering husband and children, Benjamin and Miriam, who now that the election is over, I get to see from time to time. Thank you so much.
Honorable mention goes to Julie Bykowitz of Bloomberg News for her campaign finance coverage. The winners of the Joseph D. Ryle Award for Excellence in Writing on the Problems of Geriatrics are Kay Lazar and Matt Carroll of the Boston Globe for A Rampant Prescription, A Hidden Peril, a look at the use of antipsychotic drugs in nursing homes. The award recognizes excellence and objectivity in coverage of the problems faced by the elderly. It is named in honor of Joseph D. Ryle, a longtime National Press Club member who left an endowment for the award. Accepting the award is Kay Lazar.
Matt and I are thrilled and to be honored this way. We wanted to thank the National Press Club and all of the judges. It's sort of a strange pairing to be the youngest and then writing about the old. But we're glad that they recognize the problems of the elderly, because working on this series for 19 months just fighting to get the data from the federal government about how they drug the elderly was eye-opening, and we were glad that finally the federal government, after our series, agreed to make this data and this information available to the public all the time. So thank you very much for this award.
Honorable mention goes to Eleanor Lace of Hippler's Retirement Report for a series on confronting challenges in long-term care. Please come up and accept your award. Roger Simon of Politico is the winner of the Angel Gingras Humor Award, which recognizes excellence in humor writing. It is named in memory of Angel Gingras, a National Press Club member who wrote 2 humorous nonfiction books. Simon, a columnist for Politico, won for his body of work.
Thank you. I'm going to assume that I'm the only one who entered this category. Such an amusing time in our profession. It's just a laugh a minute. But we're not only going to survive, we're going to prevail. I sold that from William Faulkner. If you're going to steal, steal big, I always say. But among the people who helped me survive are my wife, Marcia Kramer, my editor, Bill Nichols, who always asks me the essential question to ask any humor columnist, which is this supposed to be funny or what? Just kidding. I also want to thank the National Press Club. I'm often asked how many journalists work in Washington, and I always say about half of them. But the half that do, almost all of the half that do, belong to the National Press Club. I wish they did. So I want to say thanks, and thank you all.
The winner of the Michael A. Dornheim Award goes to Bart Jansen of USA Today for stories on air travel, including looks at air safety, competitive issues on pricing, and the future of airport security. The award is designed to recognize a working journalist writing about aerospace, defense, the airline industry, or aerospace science and engineering. It's presented in celebration of the career of the late Michael A. Dornheim, a longtime reporter and editor of Aviation Week and Space Technology. His mother, Charlene, and brother, Daniel, are here tonight.
I'd just like to say thank you to the National Press Club and in particular to the Dornheim family for supporting original reporting, and also thank my editors at USA Today for making sure that these stories became the best they could be. My top editor, Susan Weiss, Chris Cubison, and especially Jeff Stinson, who passed along a great deal of knowledge about this beat. And thank you all.
Honorable mention goes to Ellen Levin of Bloomberg News, my teammate, for his coverage of aviation matters, including zombie air traffic controllers and leaded gas use in private airplanes. Each year, the Press Club presents its John Aubuchon Press Freedom Award to people whose work and lives have advanced that cause, just as John Aubuchon, a former National Press Club president, did. The award goes to one domestic recipient and one international one this year. This year's foreign winner, Zeynep Koray, is from Turkey. Ms. Koray writes for a daily newspaper and a news agency in Istanbul. She is known for writing about controversial issues, including the conflict between Turkey's government and its Kurdish minority. In December 2011, she was arrested and charged, along with dozens of her colleagues, with being propagandists for an outlawed Kurdish political organization. But numerous human rights groups have called those charges phony and say Turkish authorities are merely cracking down on Kurdish dissent. Ms. Koray described her arrest to a German news agency earlier this month. She said, "Our cameras, our notebooks, all of our materials were taken away, and we were too. They stuck us in jail to silence us." She said conditions were abusive in prison, but that she and her colleagues continued to write there. "We weren't afraid, not of the government or the police," she said. "The pen is our weapon." After a year and a half in jail, she was released in April. Most of her colleagues, however, remained there, and despite her release, charges against her are still pending. We chose to honor Zeynep Koray tonight, not just because of her own tenacity in the face of adversity, but also because her case illustrates a larger point. Turkey, one of America's closest allies and a NATO member, holds more reporters in jail than any other country, more than Iran, more than China, more than anyone. The National Press Club condemns repression of reporters wherever it happens, including, no especially, when it's America's friends doing it. Zeynep Koray is with us tonight via Turkey by phone. Delphine Halgan of Reporters Without Borders and Vice Chairwoman of the National Press Club Freedom of the Press Committee has kindly offered to translate Ms. Koray's French for us.
Thank you, Angela. Zeynep? Oui. Tu peux parler.
Good morning, thank you. I would like to thank the National Press Club for awarding me the John Aubuchon Press Freedom Award, and I would also like to thank Reporters Without Borders for introducing me as a candidate for this prestigious prize. In my career as a journalist working with Reporters Without Borders has been very valuable, and the organization has always been an inspiration for me in the fight for freedom of expression.
You can go on in... Oui.
Okay. Türkiye'de de daha pek çok ülkede olduğu gibi gerçeği söylemek ve yazmak siyasi iktidarın hedefi haline gelmek için yeterli bir gerekçe olabiliyor. Bugün Türkiye'de birçok gazeteci iktidarla ters düşmemek uğruna kendi kalemlerini sansürlüyorlar. Ama özgür basın hiçbir zaman böyle bir yol izlemeyi kabullenmedi. Nerede bir adaletsizlik, nerede bir cinayet, bir katliam olsa özgür basın kimi zaman hayatı pahasına sesini yükselterek gerçekleri haykırdı.
Zeynep,
Bu cesur tavrın en radikal...
Zeynep, oui, je vais traduire en anglais ce que tu as déjà dit. D'accord? In Turkey, just like in many other countries, to say or write the truth is considered enough to be targeted by the authorities. Today in Turkey, many journalists censor their own writing to not contradict the official narrative. But the free press never agreed to follow such a path. Where there's an injustice, where there's a murder, there's always a courageous journalist to raise their voice, often at the risk of their own life. You can continue.
Bu cesur tavrın en radikal odağı da Türk basını oldu. Meslektaşlarımız devlet ve militarik zihniyet tarafından Türk halkına yöneltilen imsar ve imha politikalarını canları pahasına gözler önüne serdiler. Bugüne kadar Türk basınında 65 gazete kapatıldı, 76 basın emekçisi katledildi, gazete merkezleri bombalandı. Ama nasıl ki
Sorry, the Kurdish press has been the most radical focus of his behavior. Our colleagues have risked their lives to reveal the destructive policies carried out against the Kurdish people by the state. Up to now, 65 daily Kurdish newspapers have been closed. 76 press workers have been killed, with bombs exploding at the headquarters of several newspapers.
Ama nasıl ki güneş balçıkla sıvanamazsa, gerçeğin ifade edilmesi de hiçbir baskıyla engellenemez. Kendi onurlarına ve meslek onurlarına sadakatle bağlı olan gazeteciler, iktidar düzeyinde değişiklik olmuş gibi ayrımcılığa, ötekileştirmeye maruz kalanların sesi olmayı sürdürdüler. Günümüzde de siyasi iktidar düzeyinde değişiklik olmuş gibi görülse de zihniyet değişmedi. Dün katlediliyorduk, bugün hapse atılıyoruz. Buna da şükretmemiz, minnet duymamız bekleniyor bizden. National Press Club'ün beni layık gördüğü bu ödülü, Türkiye'deki siyasi iktidarın ifade özgürlüğünü yok etme ve toplumsal muhalefeti susturma çabalarına karşı bizler ve dayanışmamızın bir işareti olarak kabul ediyorum. Ve bu değerli ödülü asla satın alınamayan, kalemleriyle gerçekleri yazdıkları için zindanlarda rehin tutulan tüm meslektaşlarıma diyorum.
But the truth is not something that stays concealed by oppression. The expression of truth is not something that can be prevented. Journalists concerned about their honors and ethics continue to be the collective voice of each victim of discrimination. And today, despite changes in power and structure, these attitudes have not changed. Murdered yesterday, arrested today, and they would like us to be grateful. I'm honored that the National Press Club deemed me worthy of this award. I consider this award as a symbol of solidarity against the attempts of the Turkish authorities to destroy the freedom of expression and to silence the opposition.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Zeynep, ils sont tous debout à t'applaudir. I dedicate this award to all my colleagues.
Remerciez-les beaucoup.
And
on va pas se taire, on continue à écrire.
She thanks you again, and she's very happy, and she dedicates her award actually to all her Turkish colleagues who remain hostage in prison on the motive of writing the truth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delphine. Thank you, Zeynep, especially given that she is in Turkey and it is approximately the middle of the night in Turkey. For the domestic winner of the John Aubuchon Press Freedom Award, we are departing from tradition. Rather than honor an individual, we have chosen to honor a category of people. And rather than honor one of our own, we are showing appreciation for our sources. And so, the 2013 winner of the Aubuchon Award is the whistleblower. This is highly unusual, but these are unusual times. Reporters and sources alike are under siege as never before by US government officials attempting to crack down on leaks. We worry that the consequence of this will be, indeed already is, a chilling effect on sources. This administration has prosecuted more leakers than all of its predecessors combined. Just this year, we've seen AP reporters' phone records secretly subpoenaed. We saw a Fox News reporter called a co-conspirator in an affidavit because he was doing his job. In that context, we thought it would be fitting to honor those people who speak to reporters even at great professional or personal risk, often anonymously, because of fear of reprisal. We want people in government and industry who are trying to tell the public, via reporters, things the public arguably has a right to know. And they need to be able to do that safely. Reporters, for their part, need to be able to guarantee sources that they can protect their anonymity. This just doesn't mean a matter for the press. It's something that matters for America and for the world. We don't know what the next scandal is or who the next whistleblower is, but we know she is out there, and we don't want to live in a world where she is afraid to tell a reporter the truth. And so tonight, we honor the whistleblower, wherever she may be. There is a $1,000 cash prize that goes with each of the Aubuchon Awards. The Press Club will give Zainab Kurai her prize money and will use the cash that goes with the domestic award to create programs to educate reporters and sources alike about protecting their communications. And now, to talk about the importance of this issue, we have with us one of the reporters on whom the government has been leaning hard to reveal an anonymous source, James Risen of the New York Times. For 5 years, Mr. Risen has fought in court to resist having to reveal the source of a book he wrote in 2006 about a botched CIA plot in Iran. Unfortunately, last month, a divided federal appeals court ruled that Mr. Risen must testify about his source. For fighting to protect his source and for a career of intrepid reporting, the Press Club gave Risen the Domestic Aubuchon Award last year. So it's fitting on several levels that he's here with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, James Risen.
Thank you very much. I just was thinking, as I was sitting there, about what I was going to say about whistleblowers that hasn't already been said over the last couple months, because this has obviously been so much in the news. And it struck me that one thing that maybe has been said, but I haven't heard it talked about very much, is that I don't think there's any personality that is more American than a whistleblower. Because if you think about it, this country was really founded by people who got pissed off at governments and who left and came here because they didn't like government and they didn't like what governments were doing. And the entire personality, the DNA of America, I think, was kind of self-selected from Europe and elsewhere of people who wanted, to have their own kind of government and to be free of oppression. And I think that is the heart of what a whistleblower is. It's somebody who believes that civil liberties or freedom or corruption are important issues that they need to talk about, and that their right as an American is to talk about it with the press. And I think it's important as a journalistic organization for us to remember that we wouldn't have any stories without these people. That, we can pat ourselves on the back for protecting sources or for being courageous, but we don't face anything like the threats that these people face every day. And it's no wonder that, given the way this administration is treating this issue, that it's become so difficult for us to do our job because these people are facing so much danger in their real lives. It's very tangible for them. To us, it's kind of almost abstract. I can tell you, you know, this case that I've dealt with it's almost like it's been good for my career. You know, it's kind of not as anywhere near as serious as what these people face. And I always remember that whenever anybody wants to say anything nice to me, that I'm not facing anything close to what these people face every day. And I can tell you, when you talk to people, when I've talked to sources over the years, and you can see what they have to go through, the process they have to go through in their own minds about crossing the line to provide the information to the press that will make a difference. It is awesome to watch, and it's very courageous. So I just think this is a great award. Thanks.
Thank you. As we conclude the evening, I would like to once again congratulate all of our winners. Thank you for coming this evening. It's been an inspiring group of practicing journalists that we've had here on our podium tonight, and a wonderful aspiring journalist as well. We couldn't have had this wonderful evening honoring them without the hard work of many people. I'd like to give special thanks to Awards Committee Chairman Will Lester, Awards Committee Vice Chairwoman Lisa Friedman, National Press Club staff member Joanne Booz, and all of her staff who processed the entries as you and many, many other people sent them in, and actually created the awards you've received tonight. So thank you for all that work. Thank you to the Scholarship Committee led by Andrea Snyder and Jennifer Deloe, and to the Press Freedom Committee, which is led by John Donnelly, Delphine Halgund, Rachel Oswald, and Jeff Plunges. Congratulations to all, and good night.